to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am Trindamere tonight. I stuttered because I wanted to say Shredder, but I'm going to say Trindamere because
Trinda Shredder.
I'm Trinda Shredder this evening. With my
it could be either one, but I can't take you seriously.
Yeah. You're going to have to
doing
take
the
me
countdown.
What, you didn't like that countdown?
The worst thing is that I know Adam's at his house in the basement wearing those sunglasses with that little plastic thing attached to it. That is what bothers me more than anything else.
Surrounded by a bunch of LED lights and then talking to a bunch of douchebags on the internet.
Professional.
I hate it.
I'm even wearing my Rheingeist jacket, from the brewery. I'm all sorts of...
I support Rheingeist or drinking.
I support drinking. The Trinity Force Podcast definitely supports drinking. The Claude is here.
Howdy.
Punchinello.
Hey, everybody.
Cheer, Jaden.
Hey, I've returned.
Welcome, Chira. How was the surgery? How do you feel?
My elbow's kind of mangled, but it's good. I already have feeling back on one of my fingers, so that's great. That's a step up, an 8-month step up. So that's good. I can't wait to be able to do things again, like straighten my arm, but that'll come in the next couple weeks, I guess.
And play video games.
I did that a little bit this weekend. Probably shouldn't have, but I had a good time, so it's whatever.
I can't see a damn thing in those, so they're just gonna go.
Yeah, I'm so glad you took those off.
I think I'm gonna be like sitting back trying to read the patch though. It's gonna be terrible. All right, well, That's what we're talking about tonight. Patch 5.23 is the patch that is out. We have been talking about patch 5.22 for the past 4 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, we've really been hounding patch 5.22 into the ground, and 2.3 is just an extension of that patch.
Right. Well, a lot of things happen, so this is the obligatory. Hey, this was the state of things, and now preseason stuff, we're changing it all up again.
Preseason's all one continuous thing of bullshit.
It's the end of the year preseason tornado. Welcome.
We'll try to help
League
you
of
keep up
Legends.
while you play.
I was playing a game the other day, and I was as Tristana, and as you guys know, when you get max explosive casks, your W resets. So if you max your E on somebody, your W automatically resets. So I jumped in, got the proc, then jumped onto the other person to get a kill. And in all chat, they go, "What the fuck? How did you get your W reset like that?" Like before the person died, I jumped again just to get to dodge or whatever. And I'm like,
they didn't read the patch notes.
I'm like, because the this and this. I'm like, if you should just read the patch notes. And nope, too lazy. So
though, I will say,
listen to our show.
Even though I've paid attention to a lot of that stuff, even though we've talked about the Tristana changes. The first time I saw that actually happen in game, I did think to myself, why the hell did she just jump 3 times? So I understand. There's so many changes right there. There's so many changes right now that if you can't keep everything together, you might have to listen and read the notes and maybe listen again. And read the notes again, and then everything changes up 2 weeks later. So
I have the patch notes open for the first week or so on that patch.
Did you really?
I just kept referring back to them. Like, all right, I need to look up this again. So much crap to keep track of.
I just went with it and hoped I did it right, and realized I did a whole bunch of stuff wrong while I was doing it. Even talking about all those items, I still didn't know what the items did when we got in the game.
The item thing is the biggest.
I just sat in base, reading the items and scrolling the Nexus, while the game went on.
Best way to do it.
Yep. That is the best time.
Hopefully you guys are listening to the podcast while you are playing a specific character. Just, queue it up and we'll talk about it. Like, we're going to talk about Ashe because she got some changes tonight. So the itemization retool had to help reinforce critical strike, a key stat for the marksman class. And because of that, Range's focus was not properly functioning with critical strike. So they have fixed her Q. So fixed a bug where all 5 arrows in a flurry shared the same critical strike status. Critical strikes are now properly determined per individual arrow. So does that mean she wasn't doing as much damage as she was supposed to be doing?
Or she was
doing more.
Or she was doing more damage.
Well,
because it calculated whether it was a crit or not, and then all of them were that calculation.
Right. So, I mean, it would
yeah,
basically...
that's what it is now.
No, they fixed the bug
no.
where all 5 arrows in a
Fixed
flurry
it too.
But it
shade the
shouldn't
same.
be that.
And-
When they first changed her, they made it so that one flurry of attack should
was
count
based
as
off
one.
one thing. I thought that's how it was supposed to be, but now apparently they're all individual arrow shots, even though she fires once, it just is like 5 hits.
Okay.
She's gonna,
Cool.
It's going to be one of those bugs where now she's going to do fuckloads of damage because she can crit.
Well, that's the thing. If let's say you didn't crit before, honestly, the only thing this is going to do is
doesn't
average out the
crit.
damage.
Well, yeah, she can't
Yeah, well,
crit.
that's the thing. But it does the bonus damage. Yeah, that's true.
She shows her
It
own
would
bonus
just do the
damage.
bonus damage.
A crit for her is just increased slow.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Here's the how it reads exactly. Fix a bug where all 5 arrows in a flurry share the same critical strike status. Critical strikes are now properly determined per individual arrow.
Yeah, I would
So,
say if
I
one
guess-
crits, they all crit.
Right. If one's a crit, well, yeah, I guess if 1 out of 5 crits, then.
Well,
or
no,
if it's just
like
the first one, right?
I'm
If
reading
that
this
hit
as
crits.
it sounds like this bug fix was whatever the first one was, all of the other ones
All
were
of
the
them were,
exact
right.
same thing. Now, whatever the first one was is completely separate from what the second,
Right.
third, fourth, and fifth are. And that one could have a crit, the other 4 might not, 3 might have a crit, 2 might not, all of them could crit, who cares? So,
Right. So it's more
what, it
consistent
just-
slowing.
but even still, what would it matter? Wouldn't like if 1 out of the 5 crit, wouldn't that one slow just trump it?
Well, it does
or would
bonus
it
damage
just
too.
okay?
The crits do some bonus damage.
Okay, so then in that case, now it's like I said, it's just gonna average out the damage because let's say instead of a 1 in 10 chance to do some bonus damage, now per every hit, you have a 1 in 20 chance, or a 1 in 5 chance. Sorry, 1 in 5 chance. Because there's 5 chances. I don't know. The math's gonna get really goofy for that. I don't know.
It should mean more consistent.
Yeah.
It's either all or nothing. You get
You
the
would
crit
think-
status or you don't.
You
Was
would
the
think
bug.
with,
And now
with
it's
more individual arrow opportunities, the more crit now,
Well,
the more chances at
I
success.
take it back with the bonus damage. It just means she has more chance to land a slow during that
Yeah.
flurry. Because if the first one doesn't slow, one of those 5 is going to slow you.
Right. And does one? I would take it the better slow would trump everything else. I just didn't
Yeah, it
know
always
if
does.
they. Yeah. So it shouldn't matter across the board. Like if you don't crit on the first, like let's say you don't get the slow on the first one, you have a chance on that 4th arrow smack that it did, so they're slow. So yeah, there should be just more slowing across the board.
All of that to find out she could slow you more.
I don't. They've done a lot of changes though to Q in our defense and in mine in particular because I don't even barely know what that ability in itself has changed so much just over the past 3 months.
Fair.
Who knows if they finalized what they're doing with this? Because it used to be just bonus damage. Now it's bonus slow. Now it's even more chance to bonus slow. So hopefully this is how it stays for
Well,
a while.
this conversation to start the show.
I'm bored.
murdering it,
slow.
yeah.
Let's move on.
Uh,
Let's
it-
move on to
it-
these Azir
it's
bug
slow.
fixes. And I love Azir bug fixes.
well, okay, so
Can't get enough
Ashe
of
also, you can properly build Hurricane on her. There, done.
Yeah, there you go.
Azir, bug fixes, yes, Punch. What about
Yeah.
bug fixes?
You want me
They
to read
never
them?
have a
Yeah,
bug
you're the one who
fix.
brought it
According to
up.
Riot, they aren't actually bug fixes, but we know they're lying.
They're bug fixes.
They sound like bug fixes to me. First one, smoothed out Azir spellcasting when rapidly chaining abilities together.
Bug fix.
Alright. Second one, attack moving to a position near an active soldier will check for the closest valid target by the soldier. I don't know what it was targeting before. It wasn't. I guess it was the closest target to his cursor, 'cause that's what it is
Well,
for everybody else.
Yeah, or to where you initially were.
Right.
So the
It-
soldier's
it's-
just going to attack whatever's nearest to them after your attack move.
It's causing
these
the
are scarab
soldiers to be.
fixes.
It's causing the soldier to be more responsive to attack whatever is near the soldier rather
Whatever
than
you're
being a
telling it to
delay.
attack. Yeah.
So you have your full range on the. So you
Probably the cursor, like Punch was saying, because that's
Yeah.
where it directs its attack.
Well, yeah, it was directing its attack toward the cursor. All of them would have directed their attack, but now the soldiers can hit anything that's nearest to them rather than
Yeah, that
nearest to the
sounds
cursor.
like
So if
less
you have
control.
if you have 3 out and there's a minion next to A, B, and C, C being the middle one, B being on the right, A being on the left, it's going to do A, B, and C rather
What if
than
all-
A try to
what if all
attack
B?
B.
You see, before you could attack move next to B, and they would all attack B.
Right, but that's only if they're all standing next to each other, which I'm assuming that they're all going to attack. If they're all clumped together, they're all going to attack the same target. I'm talking more of like.
But if A is hanging,
I'll make a diagram. I'll make a diagram
look
for
at
this
A.
to show you. This is way too hard to explain on a podcast. Way too hard.
They're scarab fixes. That's
Draw
about
us
it.
a pretty picture, Adam.
I
I'd love
will.
to see it.
Well, Bard is going to draw you some pretty pictures starting now 15 seconds earlier as chimes will begin. He'll play you a pretty melody. There you go.
There you
Giant
go.
Picture.
He'll serenade me 15 seconds early.
Yeah, chimes now start spawning at 35 seconds to keep up with the game time as the game is now started 15 seconds sooner than it previously did, which is good. I love that change. It gives less time to invade, but
They did the same thing for Skarner Crystal Spires too. I thought there was another champion that needed that as well. But I don't see him in here.
Normalize. He needs to normalize for the.
I don't know of any
Earlier
other
time that
champion
everything
besides
spawns.
Skarner
It's-
and Bard that
Yes,
have so many
Skarner.
global objectives.
All right. Has anybody else noticed with the changes in timing that people who go brain dead AFK at the start of the games die way more often because they're slow out of base and then they just run to the same spot they usually do, and by that time the entire enemy team's there and then they get insta-gib? Because
Whoops.
I have noticed that quite frequently over the past couple of weeks.
I haven't noticed that. Nope, because I don't have any. But I haven't had any AFKs, so.
Well, no, it's just like the people who just run to whatever spot they would normally do that. But if they took, the usual 15 to 20 seconds at the shop, by the time
Sure.
they get there, they're meeting the enemy team in a bush and dying.
Oh yeah. Yes. I know what you're
I've seen
saying.
that a lot lately, which is hilarious when it's on your team.
PSA.
Oh, yeah.
PSA top laners, stop taking my jungle camps, please. Because
Yes.
you're not getting level 2 off of them because they move the experience off of the large monsters onto the jungle items. So stop taking my jungle camps. I'm learning jungle this season, and Sean's gonna help me out
PSA.
here this week.
Oh, God damn it.
If you say so.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty well. Thank you very
Whatever
much.
you decide.
My jungle has
Meanwhile-
improved quite a bit.
When did they move Soraka into the jungle?
Soraka's getting a nerf next patch, 5.24.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Caitlyn. Passive headshot. Reduce the frequency of the VO line boom headshot.
Hallelujah.
Did she say boom headshot every time she
Yeah.
shot?
The
Yes.
first time
Yeah, it
the
was annoying.
first time I heard that, I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool that happens." And then you hear it every
Then the
other
millionth
headshot.
And then the 10th time you heard that, within 30 seconds, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I would rather never hear that again. Thank you, Caitlyn.
And increasing the damage that she could do. Damage fall off is now 33% after first target, rather than 40% on her Q.
Which I remember talking about earlier. That seems like it was needed. Q just didn't do a lot of damage anymore when you pass through something. Not that if you're ideally playing correctly, you're going to hit them with the first hit of Q, but
Yeah, you can harass
it wasn't
better
even a
than you.
threat anymore if they were just hiding behind a couple minions.
It does 7% more damage now. For those of you who don't want to do the work and subtract 33 from 40.
Those of us
Well
who
said.
failed.
I'm
our
just being a
basic
team
algebra.
player here.
You're the best.
Be a realist.
And this is Chira, not even on pain medication, guys.
Are you sure?
No.
I could take some. We could get real weird.
Yeah, he texted me this morning. I'd fucked up this weekend. I'm like, what'd you
Yeah,
drink? He
I
goes,
fucked
no,
up.
worse.
No, I took pain medication and beat Legacy of the Void because I was on a mission. If I wasn't asleep, that's what I was doing. All right,
you
on to
use the
Kazakh.
hand?
Well, yeah.
Ah. Okay.
There's a bug joke
Kazakhs.
here with Sean's arm bugging him, but he can't be.
For those of you
Bug to
tuning in,
play
I'm
Kazakhs.
wearing a sling right now. It's not very cool or comfortable.
Kazakh's base armor increased to 27. Q, Taste the Fear, cost 25. Was 25 mana, is now 20 mana. They're trying to smooth him out of the new jungle because he was struggling a little bit. Right on the struggle
Yeah.
bus there with the much damage he was taking. So
well, and that's been a long time Kazakh's issue where the first clear is really brutal.
Right.
And that's a lot of champions have been running into that, and a lot of champions with the mastery changes, that clear has gotten more brutal because they have less free stats from masteries for that level 1. So this was definitely needed, and the mana cost change doesn't seem like that much, but when you're using 20 Qs in the jungle just through a clear, 5 mana per Q really builds up.
And as you've noticed with the new jungle and jungle items, you have way less mana if you go machete. You pretty much run before that third camp. So if they already had a problem, it's going to be way worse. So he's just evolving with the changes. That's all.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I know Kha'Zix is having a tough time right now. Like, he's still playable, but with the increase of gold, the increase of the jungle items, the cost of the jungle items, and the fact that TMS is no longer an AoE or spammable, and the fact that Last Whisper had been changed and no longer gives, you know, the flat pen and all that stuff that it did before, that he's having a lot of rough time right now with itemization since they focused more on the marksman than they did a lot of these assassins. So I'm curious to see, besides the oddball person, if this Kha'Zix win rate will go up very much with it. But I still wonder if the itemization is going to be the long-term problem with Kha'Zix rather than.
Do you think some of that too might be from the last keystone in ferocity? Because whereas other champions, like the auto attack champions, get something pretty solid, the crit champions get something pretty solid, but then you run into a character like Kha'Zix, who could go Deathfire Touch, but probably not great. So why would you want to put that many
like
points
a case
in that
for
trade?
Thunderlord's Decree.
Yep, it's exactly. You're going to be seeing those champions.
I don't really pick up Deathfire's Touch unless I'm running like Victor or somebody where I can like kind of poke with it and use that extra burn damage, because I found Thunderlord's Decree to be so much more impactful.
So good.
Especially with for anybody that jumps in, blows their load, and either gets out or kills them and then walks away. Thunderlord's Decree does more than Deathfire or the crit or any of the other masteries do. So, and you really don't give up that much for it. That's like a whole other conversation. I think we've already had that conversation actually, like a patch or two ago. Or
the major difference is going to be the I think it's around 7% armor pen or spell pen from the mastery right before the final keystone and ferocity, and on certain champions that means way less than it does on others. So
yeah, you have to decide if you want 5% cooldown earlier. And if you're going to make it to the max of 45, which I found with a lot, like Nocturne, for example, because that is one I've been spamming the most of, like having 40% CDR with 2 items is so much more impactful, but that's because of the ultimate, right? So,
oh, and Adam, I'm glad you picked up Nocturne, because from all the streams that I watched last week while I was off work, everybody's saying that he's really strong, right?
He's so good right now. He's so good.
They're saying like he's top 3.
He wasn't touched in this patch.
I know.
Yeah, sorry, we got off a little tangents. It just happens. It's things. we talk about what we've been playing.
That shows you they think he's in a good spot, I guess, or he's not on the radar yet. But Kha'Zix is like Adam was saying, he's in their radar. They're going to do more. They're going to give more love.
They're making his life better. So
yeah. Jungle
Lucian,
part at least.
He's been top tier ADC this patch, thanks in part to Essence Reaver and the itemization rework. So they are pulling back some of his power by reducing his base attack damage to 57.42. It was 59.42, so they dropped 2 out of that. And the culling physical damage went from 40, 50, 60 plus 0.25 bonus attack damage to 20, 30, 50 plus 0.2 total attack damage. So they're
the key being bonus to total attack damage.
Oh, sorry, I said
scales
total.
better.
Yeah. Right, it scales better into late, but does less early.
Yeah, it was doing a lot of damage early. And for a long time, the culling was basically the equivalent of just firing soft pillows into your opponent, because it didn't do any damage early on. So now that it was doing damage, they had to fix that. Very important.
It also felt like it lasts forever, but I think that's just because more shots were fired. So
yeah, I think you're right.
Speed.
Yeah.
There we go. Better scaling. Misfortune. What do you think about her? Punch. Your favorite
I will read the changes. So the base health on Misfortune was reduced from 578 to 530, and the strut attack speed active was reduced by 20% at the max rank. It's still the same at rank 1, 60%.
Okay.
So it scales slower with each rank you put into it. Now they said this is kind of a minor tweak, but I think the 38 health reduction on level 1 is kind of a big deal. But she was a very powerful lane bully. A lot of people liked her, especially with the new passive. So
it's one less auto attack that she can take.
Yeah, that's a lot of health to remove.
Yeah. It is a lot of health. Because you can do so much damage, I think she'll still be fine. I'm glad they also included the W change because for how much of a lane bully she was, she also scaled pretty damn well with that 120% bonus attack speed.
So a lot of these, when I was reading through these patch notes, a lot of these to me just kind of said we're just tuning everybody back to make them more on equal grounds rather than have a couple 80 carries that are shining far and above the rest of them. And that's all I'm reading out of these is that we're just trying to pull a little bit of power back so we can give some people to play. Yeah, nothing that makes it unplayable. So Mordekaiser is getting some interesting changes. Actually, I think they're making him more powerful this patch than he has previously. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I don't see Mordekaiser bans anymore, and I don't see him being played.
Right.
And before he was must pick or ban. So,
but that also might just be look at all the brand new bright and shiny AD carries that we can play. Let's go back to what we were playing for the past 4 years up until this point.
Why sub it out for
with
him?
all the new bright, shiny abilities that all of them can do.
And they're really good.
Yeah, and they're all really good now. And then Riot's like, no, we're bringing Mordekaiser back.
Don't forget about Mordekaiser, guys.
We put him here for a reason, and he's here to stay.
Right. Well, first
Put on
and
the
foremost,
sunglasses again, Adam. They're kind of Mordekaiser-y.
First and foremost, his attack range has been reduced by 25 units, making it to 175 from 200.
Bastards.
The total change here is Q damage. That the way damage is calculated has been changed. W damage is up. E grants more shield regen, and R's dragon now scales with rank. Those are like the tips and the little tips here. So Q, it removed. It used to have exponential scaling, and that's all been removed. It now does on first hit. It does 10. 20, 30, 40, 50 damage plus 0.5 to 0.9 total attack damage with a flat 0.6 ability power scaling ratio, making hybrid, or rather flat AD a little bit more scary on him than it was previously, because previously it was 0.3 total attack damage with a 0.2 ability power scaling. Second hit magic damage is still 10 to 50, and everything else it's the same. But the third is where you get at max rank 1.8 total attack damage ratio with 1.2 ability power total ratio.
And the base damage doubles.
Yeah. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100.
Who would have thought that increasing the damage by ×3 and ×9 was a bad idea? Not me.
So we just all we can do is just laugh about that one. Like, yeah.
But essentially, they compare this new one to the old one, where if you took the old one, you're doing 1 times damage the first hit. Now, according to these new numbers, it should be around 3 times the amount of damage for the first hit, because the base damage and the increased ratios. Mm-hmm. So first hit's doing more damage, second hit does the same amount as the first hit, and then the third hit does double damage to the first 2, but not as much as the ×9.
Which was out of control.
Got it?
Yep.
So doing more damage first 2 hits, less damage on the third hit? Is that what you're trying to tell me? So overall, he's losing damage, but he's doing more bursty damage, or doing more upfront bursty, more upfront consistent damage.
He can't one-shot
leaves less of a chance.
He can only half-shot.
Yes.
W, Harvesters of Sorrow. Activation damage went down from 70, 95, 120, 145, 170 to 50, 85, 120, 155. Break even point, or that's the break, not even point, the break point there. 190. So it does more damage as you put points into it. Once you get past rank 3, you do more damage than you previously did. Otherwise, you're doing less damage with it. E, Siphon Destruction. Shield gain on champion hit was 15% of your maximum health. It is now 15, 17.5, 20, 22.5, and 25% of your maximum health. Trying to push him board toward like a Juggernaut Bruisery type of build rather than straight damage.
Yeah, and on champion hit, not the minions, so.
Yeah. Children of the Grave.
Never
Fixed a
mind.
bug where shield decay wouldn't kick in while Children of the Grave is damaging an opponent. Fixed a bug where Rylai's Crystal Scepter applied the full 40% instead of 20% for Dragon's basic attacks. Now scales 500, 575, 650 with rank. That's his attack range. The Dragon attack range scales. Dragon movement speed now scales -50, 0, 50. So Dragon can move even a little more quickly at max rank.
Yeah, he's slower at rank 1.
He
The
can
slow
fly.
dragon is slow.
Yeah, none of these changes. I mean, they were supposed to give him a little bit more power, or I guess they're just trying to make him so he's a little more consistent. None of these changes really scream go play Mordekaiser in the bot lane anymore.
Yeah. A little bit of staying power with E, but I mean, the reduced damage on W, that's what you're going to level last anyways, so you're not going to see that increased damage until level 18
Where are you maxing Q
or
and E?
17.
And by that
Good
time, the
point.
game really probably should be over with. Yeah, he's really not going to be. You know what? I still think though, paired with an aggressive sport like Blitzcrank, that he's very much worth playing and sacrificing Rift Herald to get the dragons to push down turrets, because there's you would get more out of it with Mordekaiser by taking the dragon than you would by taking the Rift Herald. But hey, if you can have total map presence as a jungler, I think it's still a viable strategy to play Mordekaiser in the bot lane.
They bring up Ginso's Rage Blade in chat on Mord. I can see it. Because Ginso's is good on everybody, I can see it.
Didn't they increase the price of Ginsu's in this patch?
Yes.
They needed to. It's so good.
Yeah, sorry. Ginsu's Rage Blade has had a price increase in this patch. So let's talk about Quinn. Quinn, new base damage. 15 to 105 at levels 1 to 18. Ratio was 1.5 of total attack damage. It is now 1.6 to 1.16 to 1.5 total attack damage at levels 1 to 18. So her total attack damage ratio is it scales up because they increased her base damage. That's it. Blinding Assault. It was Aerial Assault and is now Blinding Assault.
Hooray!
It's back.
Well, kind of.
I'm blind again.
Not
It was blinding,
ki-
aerial,
kind
and
of.
kind of blind now.
Yeah, it's kind of blind now. It's not like real blind.
Right. It's glaucoma.
There's like a little spot you just can't see. Now applies near sight to the target hit for 2 seconds, removing allied vision, reducing its vision to 300. So it's like a pseudo blind. Now, does
right.
It's like a Nocturnal, but a mini one.
how far does
Graves
blinding
smoke
assault
thing.
push you back though? That's what I want to know.
What? Push you back.
Yeah, when
The,
you. Oh, I'm thinking of E.
The Quinn.
How far
Yeah.
does aerial assault? Is that what it is? Oh, that was Q. Oh, what the hell is E called? I don't remember.
They changed
Vault.
Q's name from Aerial
Vault.
Assault to Blinding
He is
Assault.
Vault.
Yeah.
And that wasn't changed.
He doesn't
in this
knock you
patch.
back very far.
It probably box you back 175 units probably. 200.
If that.
I bet you it
Yeah.
goes about 200.
Alright.
Whatever you want to believe.
It's outside of an attack range.
So I want to know if you get attacked while you're blinded, if you gain vision of your attacker. Or if it's like Graves Smokescreen now, where you can't see outside of your vision no matter what.
That's what I'm thinking.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it's like Grave Smoke
It's
Screen.
near sight. So
If so, that's
it's
pretty
like
damn
Graves.
good.
He moves out of
Because that
vision.
Smokescreen is a
Yeah.
bitch.
That's way better than it was previously, because before you just used it to reset and do some damage, but now you can actually kind of like outplay people by moving outside the range and auto attacking. When cast on non-champions, renders them unable to attack or cast spells. So Jungle Quid getting even better with Q.
Oh boy.
You want that to be such a thing.
Oh, it's gonna be even better now. Think
I
about
see
it,
it.
because it's an AOE. Q's an AOE, so you can smack a whole entire camp and it can't hit you while you're attacking things. You're saving damage.
or a big Rift Herald or Baron buffed cannon minion. You know, help
even
you
better.
survive a little longer. So don't surrender.
And they increased the damage on it? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, by quite a bit. I was already maxing it before in lane because of how much
Good
damage it
segue,
was doing. Base damage was 20, 45, 70, 95, 120. It is now 25, 55, 85, 115, 145. So doing more damage over the race of the game, over the pace of the game. Ratio has been increased as well. It was 0.7, 0.75, all the way up to 0.9. It is now 0.8, 0.95, 1.1, 1.25, 1.4 total attack damage, plus 0.5 ability power. So it's doing more damage and scaling a lot better than it previously did. If this build
Oh,
pretty
how
good.
much damage did it do based on the enemy's missing
If you're
health?
building ability
They
power.
removed that portion of it. Which I totally forgot that was in there.
Yeah, I don't know. Missing health. You never really used it for missing health. You use it just to proc off some more to more of your passives that scale on total attack damage. Can I find it? League of Legends.
Stand by.
They've already changed it. It's going to take me too long to find it.
I figured.
What, they changed it for the patch that didn't hit yet? No, it's still aerial assault. It's 1% of their missing health. Increased by 1% for every 1% of their missing health.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's painful.
So, physical damage to all enemies increased by 1% for every 1% of their missing health.
So better late. So, yeah.
That's
better late
the
as
Valor
people
one.
scale it up. Oh, yeah, that was when it was Valor, right? That's not Blinding Assault.
Valor.
Yeah,
Right.
so they changed Blinding Assault so it automatically removed. See, I got to go back further now. I should have had this set. I'm like...
Yep.
No,
that
I
Valor
need to
part.
go to November 19th, 2012. Quinn commands. Yeah, it was still area assault was still the same thing. 1% for 1% for missing health.
Okay.
1 for 1.
That's pretty big damage loss.
With the attack damage scaling, I think it makes up for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're like you said, you're usually opening up with Q, but I'm thinking.
Yeah, you Q passive,
whatever.
E passive, and you're attacking squishies and not tanks.
Yeah, they're usually dead by then.
You're
probably not going to get a second one off.
With the way R works, the way her mobility is, she is no longer an AD carry where she's like a tank buster or trying to bust a tank. She's trying to get to that
She never
back
was.
line and try to kill somebody. So that's the way she needs to be played.
Yeah, I think she's jungle mid lane.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe top lane again.
I like jungle mid lane because she can push pretty hard and she can bully really, really hard in a solo lane because of that Q. Because if you just let the passive jump on them and that zones people out by just having the passive around you, and then Q and E automatically proccing those passives helps quite a bit. Like that Q change to be able to proc the passive has helped her more than anything else, in my opinion. Because before it was just a blind with damage.
But that's the only ability, or that's the only ability in our kit that has an AP ratio. So the increase to the AP is pointless.
Ginsos.
Unless you get the Ginsus,
which doesn't
Nerf.
work with range.
Shall we segue?
Oh, by the way, they changed
You
to
can talk
R.
about that.
Was tag team is now behind enemy lines. 2. Exactly the reason why I said so you can get behind there and kill the AD carry.
That's right.
They should really just change it to, do you want all of the movement speed?
Yeah, I had Boots of Moby.
How
max
fast
rank,
do you want to go?
725 movement speed. I was the fastest thing alive.
And you also got two-shotted by the wind.
Yeah, pretty easily. So we talked about Skarner already. The Crystal Spires are now spawning sooner. Zed has had some changes. W, Living Shadow, maximum cast range has gone up to 700. Minimum cast range is down to 350. Was 400. Missile speed has been increased to 1750. So W is a little more responsive and goes out a little bit further than it did. Death Mark, damage has been increased from 20, 35, 50% to 30, 40, 50%, doing more damage early. Now, speaking with Santana, he's telling me the damage that you would do and Zed's Living Shadow wasn't actually the problem. It's the interaction between Q and
That's
E.
not the first time I've heard that either. I think most of the Zed mains agree with him. And it was that being able to cast W and Q in quick succession, which they took out fairly recently, I thought. And that really hurt him.
Yeah,
Because he could
that was
W
a
and then
while ago, right?
cast Q right away and get that quick burst damage out. And now there's that delay after casting W. But
Well,
now
at
the
least
W goes out faster.
Yeah,
maybe
W
that
moves
helps a bit.
faster. And you can also send it out a little farther, so things that might not have hit in the past might hit now.
I'm not a Zed Bane by any means. I only dabble with him, but I always felt like that W wasn't the most responsive ability to use
It
when
isn't.
it came out. Yeah, it always felt slow. Like when you pushed it out, like so you'd want to throw it out and be able to harass with the 2 Qs, and you never.
It's weird though.
Or
it
not
felt,
never, but it was hard to hit.
It felt pretty quick when you're playing against Zed, especially a good Zed. And when you're playing Zed, it feels slow. So I don't know if it's just a difference in perspective of I'm playing this champion, I want him to be able to do this, or I'm playing against this champion, holy shit, I don't want to deal with instant WQ things that I can't mitigate because he can just instantly cast them and he basically gets to it doesn't even become an issue because if you're skilled with Zed, you can't miss that Q with how close he can get to you with that W. So I don't know. I'm happy that the missile speed is quicker on W, but I don't know if I'm 100% happy if they were to just go back and be like, hey, let's just get instant WQ procs again or pops again.
Yeah, how are we feeling about Deathmark gaining a 5% damage increase at rank 2 and 10% at rank 1? Is it really that big of a buff to make the change to him coming back?
10% at rank 1, again, we've said in the past, that little bit of difference can make all the difference, especially in a lane like mid where people are already pretty squishy. And if you can get that first blood or you can get that early kill, you can snowball that.
Yeah. Chances are you won't have a QSS or a Zonia's by then, so
yeah,
you're taking 10% more damage.
10% more. Plus, let's say you can get 3 or 4 of those ults off before they're able to buy a QSS. I mean, you're still doing 30 to 40% more total damage that you wouldn't have dealt otherwise on a champion. Whether that kills them or not, it'll remove them from the fight potentially too. So it's more than one thing going into that. That raw damage increase on somebody who can already dish out a lot of damage quickly is pretty good. Is that what he needed? Maybe not. Maybe the Q change was something more along those lines. But if don't look a gift horse in the mouth. They gave you 10% more damage.
I don't think it matters. They would have to make Zed do a fuck ton of damage or really make stuff responsive to make his win rate skyrocket and be overbearing. Because I still am under the impression that Zed is very much feast or famine in how you play him. Because you're either good or you're bad with Zed. Feast or famine.
And it's not just that. It's if you decide that you want to play a lot of Zed, you're basically just playing Zed because that's how much that champion requires a whole lot of maintenance to keep that skill level up just because there's a lot of things you can do with them. But unless you do it perfectly, you don't usually see success on it. So it goes hand in hand with a lot of other high skill cap champions.
Yeah, and to be fair,
Go ahead.
The high skill cap or assassination champions are feast or famine. For the most part.
Generally speaking.
And there's nothing here. This isn't like he got nerfed. These are all buffs. So they're looking at him. They want him to do better. Maybe they're not the buffs you wanted, but they are buffs that they are in the direction of, hey, we want this champion to be better. So if they don't like this iteration of changes, they can make another pass.
Assassins are the natural predator of the marksman. Marksmen are strong right now. They gotta buff the assassins.
Buff those assassins.
That's just nature.
Yep. Right. Yeah, but nature takes millions of years to this evolution.
Right,
or one preseason.
Preseason. That's a million years to riot. Speaking of time, let's talk about Zilean. He choose your own Zilean venture. Once again, is recommended item pages for both mage and support. Hooray! Passive time in a bottle now gives at least 15% of Zilean's banked experience. Excess experience goes in the target's next level. Because previously, it only would allow you to use it if you were to finish someone's level off for them. Now you can just give them experience.
He has rollover minutes.
And it rolls over.
Yeah, rollover.
He's got benefits.
He has rollover minutes now. So
good way to put it.
So yeah, that's nice. Zilean can use his passive a little bit more aggressively. Or not aggressively. I guess he can technically use it aggressively. But he can use it. It's a little more responsive in the use. The rollover of experience is really nice, so you're not just banking tons of it.
He's not punished for using it.
It's like it's 2002 all over again when people started coming out with the rollover minutes. Everybody switched to sprint.
I paid for those minutes. Where are they?
God, we're old. We're old, friends. We made a really bad,
poorly bad.
That was a singular
God,
reference there, right?
Oh, I hate everything.
The 17-year-olds listening to the show are going, what?
Huh?
Kids, we used to not have texting. I remember the first text message I got. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Here's one older than
I'm never
you
going
guys.
to do
that. Bryant is Jim Croaching on his experience gains here.
Jim Croaching.
Jim Croce is. He's the one who performed the song "Time in a Bottle." All right, now I'm dating myself. Sorry.
I was laughing how bad that was.
All right.
Attack
a piece
range.
of me dies every time. Why did I come back?
Attack range changes. There's been some made in this patch. Mega Gnar attack range 150 to 175. Consume buff attack range on Nunu went from 137.5 to 120. So you have to be closer to consume.
25.
Yeah, 137.5 to 125. So you have to be closer to consume now than you did previously. So you get a little bit more harmless range. Shyvana Dragon Form attack range 125 to 175, which I think that's a pretty
really
good
nice.
buff.
That's really that. Shyvana is one of those champions that once you're doing really well on her, she feels like you feel like you're the hero that your team needs because of the things you can do with her right now. But if you can't get to somebody because let's say you got kited for some reason and you're just out of range, you know you're the fastest thing alive, but you're not fast enough to be able to get to them. You might be able to hit them now, and they're going to be very sad because you hit really hard. So this is, I love this change for Shyvana. It's going to be really nice. 50 attack range on a melee champion's pretty solid.
Yeah, pretty solid, I'd say so. But only when she's in dragon form.
Right.
Scion attack range 150 to 175, so giving a little bit more. I think they're doing a lot of these because they're also changing. They're trying to work with minion collision and champion size as well.
Right.
They're resizing some champions.
Well, and Scion's gigantic, so it makes sense that he'd have.
But he's getting smaller.
I thought they made him 10%
patch.
larger.
No, in the same patch where he's getting 15
right.
more
Range?
attack range,
Okay.
he's getting 5% smaller.
Oh,
So
well,
I guess it comes more in line with the axe. I don't know. Whatever the reasoning is, there it is. I think it's more like Adam was saying before with the minions and the hip
they cut his size by 5 feet, but they increased his axe size by
big
5.
champions like Malphite and Renekton and whatnot have been having an issue with auto attacking and lane and getting the things because minions have been the creep block has been so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom Kench attack range 200 to 175. So yeah, it's a
Hooray.
little bit less. Yeah, hooray! Thank God. Tom Kench probably needs. Yeah,
Especially
Tom
when-
Kench doesn't need a lot of nerfs. He just needs a little bit of something. And that
Tom
might-
Kench had longer
Right.
attack range than Scion did.
Yep.
His attack
so
range.
depressing.
I mean, stacking up his passive is so important to his kit, but
Yeah.
I just felt like his Q was spammable. I didn't feel like he needed the attack range.
It always
Especially because
surprised
if you
me
hit one
that he
Q,
didn't
you're
get
probably
far,
hitting
so.
all
Right.
of them after
They're
that.
slow. Just sitting on top
Yeah.
of them and slapping them with your tongue over and over again.
Yeah, Trundle attack range 125 to 175, as well as Zac going 125 to 170. That Zac attack range is pretty. That's a pretty decent.
Another 50
change.
attack range across
Yep.
The Zac
two
attack
other
range.
Yeah, Trundle.
champions. That's
Big
nice.
increase.
As soon as this preseason kind of settles down and we see, I want everyone to remember these attack range changes because I have a feeling in about 3 to 4 months we're gonna start seeing Trundles and Zacs and Shyvanas and stuff coming back into the jungle as they tweak it. As they tweak out some of these hyper carry junglers, and these attack range changes are going to be the biggest change for that.
Once they change assassins to be back on top and to the point where they're just melting everyone regardless
Then we
of
need
what's
tanks
going
again.
on, they need tanks and bruisers to come
Tanks,
back
save
in
us!
to put those assassins back in the damn closet where they belong.
But yeah, I'm interested to see these. I don't really think. I mean, Trundle's not too bad out of the jungle right now. He's safe and he can clear relatively quickly.
Turtle's always
He's
been
always
safe.
like that.
Yeah.
He's always been okay. What are you gonna do? If I'm 6, I can
When
just
in
bolt
doubt,
you and run.
Let me go safe, Trundle.
Yeah.
Just play Nocturne, get 40% CDR. Ability toggling.
Disregard it.
Toggleable abilities with no use effect can now be switched while under the effects of crowd control. So Aatrox W, if you're stunned, you can switch from Bloodthirst to Blood Price or back and forth. You can
That's
turn
nice.
on or off Cho'Gath E, and Jinx you can turn on or off her Q, or switch between her Q.
So that's nice in that you don't have to spam a button if you're stunned, so that when you get out of something,
Right.
if you hit that button while you were stunned, and let's say Vorpal Spike, all right, you go in, let's just say it's a Renekton Cho'Gath matchup. Let's just throw it out there. You don't want to push the wave as Cho for some reason. So Renekton jumps in, W's, but he's a little slow on Eing out, and you want to get an auto off on him. So you turned off Vorpal strikes because you didn't want to push towards him at all through the minions. And you thought you turned it off, but you didn't because you were stunned. Have no fear. You
Good
can do it
example.
now.
And Jinx, when she's stunned, she can still move her arms.
She wants a rocket, so when she flashes out of that stun, she can start shooting people from a longer range and not have to wait that extra second. Buffs!
Right.
Buffs for everybody!
Now, how big
it'll feel
of a
better.
difference do you really think this is going to make? I don't see this making a giant difference unless you're super, super, super at the top, and there's a reason why you're instant toggling these for
if you have a slow reaction
more
time,
speed.
You're gonna feel it. Like me, I'll notice this,
Right?
Because I have a slow reaction time, so I'm not gonna hit it right away when I come out of that stun. Here, I have a little bit of a margin of error to go ahead and do what I want to do.
I say they make it harder for all the people that have disabilities to play.
You say that they
No, I'm
should?
kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna get so much hate mail for that terribly timed joke.
That group right now. That's really depressing.
Sure, you're gonna play in that cast with me tonight. We're gonna be the disabled brothers.
All right.
Chiro can't play.
Wait. What's actually happening? I'm terrified.
He'll get crippled. Chiro will try to hit the mouse up in his hand and be playing on his face.
I'll just like put.
We put it in the mashed potatoes.
I'll put my mouse in the sling and just try and move it a little bit. Yeah, just like in here while still I can keyboard just fine, but if I need to run away or run towards something, I'm not going to be moving very quick.
You can still be the best Hearthstone player of all time.
Does it look like Benny's arm from Total Recall?
Dude,
no.
Chiro's all nervous on his day. He's getting the surgery, and I'm telling him he could be the greatest women's MMA fighter ever with that left hook, and I don't even get a laugh. It's just he ignores me.
You're the meanest person alive.
I told him, he's like, I'll have fully function my left hand. I'm like, well, you'd be the greatest women's fighter of all time with that left hook, and I just get ignored.
No, I didn't even. They might have been putting me under right then. In my defense.
Well, and there's that. And then there's time I text you this weekend about the rat cage, and you ignored me then.
Oh, dude, I was on pain.
I know.
You're lucky if I ran into that and I was cognizant whatsoever.
I figured.
Velkaz would find this conversation obscene, so we should move on.
I just like making fun of him because of his disability.
I know, and it's as soon as this goes away, you're not going to be able to do it anymore. So you better get your jabs in while you can.
Or left hooks.
Yeah.
I knew it was going.
The following champions are approximately 10% larger. Mumu, Dr. Mundo, Malphite, Olaf, Rammus, Shen, Warwick.
My favorite champion got bigger.
Sorry.
The following champions and skins are approximately 5% larger. Darius, Gregus, LeBlanc, Leona, Mordekaiser, Morgana, Nunu, Renekton, Teemo, Veigar, Zinzao, the Mighty Jack, Sithawin, Kale, Marcus, Vladimir, Nosferatu, Vladimir, Vandal, Vladimir.
So wait. Teemo got bigger.
Brian.
Why did Teemo need to get bigger? Apparently, he was just too 5%. Small. So wait. Does this change the distance of Teemo's? This throws everything.
Oh my god, it does!
5%.
Game's broken. Oh.
Do we measure anything
it's like
anymore?
changing the foot or the meter.
Oh my god.
That's a good
No,
point.
this doesn't actually change hitboxes, they say.
So units of measurement
bigger
for the entire game are now increased by 5%.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had to type that. It's with all that the typing. Okay, then so there's that change. Then, by the way, they said like they can't make everybody like how they should be because they said Malphite would take up the entire map. For example, if they made him as large as he should be, so they're just kind of scaling. The following champions. Oh, sorry, say it again. Punch.
Nothing. Go on.
Okay, the following champions and skins are approximately 5% larger. Bard and Lee, Spider Form, Echo, Fizz, Gangplank, Jace, Callista, Cassid, and Kha'Zix, especially Rek'Sai,
5% smaller.
5% smaller. We're going to keep going. Rumble, Scion, Soraka, Tomcat, Tristana, Twisted Fate, Vel'Koz, Infernal, Alistar, Dragonwing, Corki, Battlecast, Kog'Maw. They're all smaller. Smaller.
Makes sense. Infernal Alistar was freaking huge.
He was a monster.
That was the one reason to pick that skin. So I'm glad they did that.
The following champions and skins are approximately 10% smaller. Heimerdinger, Karthus, Lucian, Zed, Cottontail Fizz, Final Boss Veigar. So they're making Lucian smaller. Does that make him harder to hit? Does that change hitboxes?
No, it does not change hitboxes.
It's not supposed to change hitboxes, but even if it doesn't change hitboxes, no, like the character size not matching hitboxes.
Does it change hitboxes?
Change things.
You're the worst.
Does it change collision boxes? These are all legitimate questions.
No, according to them, it does not.
So they're just making
only
the model.
visual.
I hope they're not lying to us.
All right, whatever. So we talked about that. Now we got some other stuff to talk about. Some more back to items. Now we've segued from jokes to real stuff. Hunter's Talisman, which I have never started because I find that the Hunter's Machete is a much more powerful tool. They are increasing the burn damage from 20 to 25 to give some of those AP mage junglers a better time in the jungle. They're also decreasing the magic resist of the jungle monsters a bit too, to try to give some of those mage junglers a better time.
Well, I start Hunter's Talisman on Sejuani.
Do you?
Yeah.
That mana.
How's your clear?
I need it, otherwise I run out because I can't kill him fast enough before I run out of mana. So it's helpful, and this burn damage will be even better. So
yeah, probably a little better. Refillable potion, which I like this change. Healing per charge was 100 and is now 125, and the duration is 12 seconds. So you get more healing over a longer period of time, which makes me more likely to pick this up. Because I wasn't.
Health pots.
Instead, I was picking up 3 health pots before because that extra healing, that extra 150 life was too much to give up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard to justify this over that individual health pots.
Also 3. Yeah.
Right. And
unless you were really planning to get corrupting potion, or you were jungling.
Right.
Ginsu's Rageblade combined cost has been increased by, what, 400 gold?
Needed it.
A significant amount.
Gold.
It's 300 gold.
Oh, 300 gold. You're right. Sorry.
Yep.
It did need it, but
Needed it.
yeah, it's so. When I played fives on last Thursday night, every game, it was team comps built around Rageblade. I mean, there was 4 or 5 Rageblades in a game.
Whoever got Rageblade first released the rage.
I was playing Fiora one game, and I was doing pretty well. I had 3 kills in the top lane. And then their jungler Xin Zhao shows up. I just finished killing Fizz. I'm at full health. I'm like, all right, jungler, bring it on. He kills me. Yeah, he solos me.
Does he really?
He had Rageblade. Like, what the F?
Yeah.
I'll counter your Rageblade with my Rageblade. Who has the better blade? Should have picked Jax.
But he was banned. Because of Rageblade.
Because of one item. Static Shiv. Magic damage. Was 50 to 150 at levels 1 to 18, is now 30 to 100, and damage against minions has been increased to 75% rather than 50%. So it does less damage to champions, does more pushing power.
But it still pushes.
Yeah.
It does its job. It's just that this plus rapid fire cannon doesn't feel nearly as satisfying anymore.
I never really liked the
Feels
rapid
bad,
fire
man.
static shift. Anyway, I'd build it, and I never felt impactful.
You must have been doing it wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, then
right-clicking
you're
wrong.
doing something terrible.
You weren't critting at the right time, I guess.
I wasn't.
Need to work on that.
I wasn't using my stacks properly. I was clearing minions, and then the people were coming in at me, and I didn't have a stack.
You never played Emperor Palpatine?
What, 2 seasons ago?
Maybe.
Yes.
You're still holding on to that, Nicklon.
You want that to
It'll come back someday.
I want it to come back.
You want it so bad.
By the way, we've been talking about this for 4 patches now, but everybody, if you have tier 2 boots, now gets home guard at 20 minutes. Congratulations.
Hooray. No more home guard. You can buy something else now.
Oh, so they were nice. They don't let
free.
you buy it. But it still exists.
Yes. Initial haste, however, has been decreased to 175%, and the healing has been decreased to 12%, missing health and mana rather than 35%. So you heal a little bit more slowly, and you run a little bit more slowly out of the base. But you get it for free. Combat lockout duration has been increased to 8 seconds as well, since everybody gets it. And then
So this adds a little bit of anti-snowball back.
so you
Well,
can't
doesn't
run
it-
a base. Or you
Doesn't
can't
this
run a
mess with
base.
the teleport hackerums and everything like that who want to get it before 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. You got to change up your little strategies prior to that.
I heard people saying Twisted Fate did that too.
I'm sure anybody that has some kind of teleport would use the...
I've seen it on Malphite before too. Oh well. None of that.
No more home guard shenanigans with teleport, which I like. I didn't like that somebody could teleport behind me and then make it to the team fight when they're teleporting to a disadvantageous ward. Anyway.
Well, home guard is used to guard home now instead of all those little crazy, neat little things we were doing with it outside of the home with teleport. So, oh well.
By the way, damaging enemies over 5,000 range away no longer triggers home guard's combat lockout, so Karthus can use his ult and base and still have home guard. Congratulations.
All right.
Something to talk about here is that the Rift Herald has also had a change in this patch. That his base damage has been decreased to 105 from 120, and the current health on hit has been decreased from 6% to 4%. So
he was a painful little guy.
you do less damage to the Rift Herald. He does less damage to you.
Wait a second.
Or no, I mean, he does less damage
sure
to you.
Yeah, he doesn't hurt you as much.
Right, that's what I meant. Sorry.
Okay.
I was thinking of the true
easier to
damage.
kill. There it is.
Yes.
Right.
Well, not so much
It's
easier to
hard to find for
kill.
you.
Easier to tank, at least, so you're not missing
Easier to tank,
everything. That was my problem with the Rift Herald. I loved it. We preached it. It was just when you did it, somebody usually had to go back after it was done. The person who tanked it. Turrets, outer turret health, inner turret health have been both increased to 4,000. So they were 3,500. They've gained an extra 500 life, so they should be a little bit harder to take. Changing top and bots a little less snowbally. As well as there is a, where is it? There's a experience change in this patch. I'm trying to find it.
Experience changes.
For what? Turrets? Or everything?
For killing people, there's an experience change.
Champion kills. Yeah, there's an experience on kills. It's
Right.
was 60% of a full level for killing an equal level champion. Now it's 50% of a full level for killing an equal level champion. So they nerfed by 10%.
Which makes it even harder to get 3 levels ahead, as we talked about last patch. So the game should be a little less snowbally now with when you're getting kills. And you should have a little bit more of a chance. You should have a little more chance to get back. But the minion changes are in this patch.
If they're equal leveled. So not really.
But
it's hard to start the snowball.
They're in this patch, but they don't have those huge bonuses that we were talking about before, right? The 3 average level advantage.
Yeah,
they took that out.
Yeah.
So no 90% increased damage anymore. I don't know what it is now. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, look at this wall text here. Let's go through this.
The average level of your team minus the average level of the enemy team, not total levels and not necessarily clean numbers. Max level team advantage is 3. So while your team has a level advantage, your minions deal bonus damage to enemy minions equal to 5% plus 5% per turret advantage in their lane, all multiplied by your team's level advantage. So now it's like super nerdy math, high school calculus style math.
Oh, could go up to 60.
Yeah, if you are ahead by 1 level and are up 2 turrets in a lane, the minions in that lane get 5% plus 5% times 2 turrets times 1 level equals 15% bonus damage. So if you are cumulatively 1 level ahead, or average rather, not cumulative, average 1 level ahead, and are up by 2 turrets in a single lane, those minions get 50% bonus damage now, rather than up to like the 90% it was previously when you were 3 levels ahead.
All right.
Just remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sona when you're doing this math, so you can get your
when you're doing this math on the fly during the game.
Yep.
If you're ahead by 2.5 levels and are up by 1 turrets in a lane, minions in that lane get 25% bonus damage.
Now, note these aren't turned on immediately with 5.23. I guess they're looking at data first.
Oh.
They still want to get more of a feel about how this is going to affect the game before they actually.
So they're going to slowly release these. Okay.
Yeah, sorry if you hear stuff. My heater just turned on. I forgot to turn the heat off in the house. At least it was at the end of the show and not like halfway through it, right? I think we'll have to swing back around for these because they also said they didn't turn them on right away. These changes won't be turned on.
That is what I just said.
Yeah,
sorry.
We should revisit them then.
I was paying attention to the heater turning on and trying to figure out what was going on. Promo helpers in this patch. So if you're below gold 1, they'll give you some help to get your promos. You guys can go read the patch notes on that. I'm sure the For Rewards podcast will talk a little bit more about that. Other changes that we're missing: unit collision. They are minion collision buffer plus 20% of the model size, and champion collision buffer is none. So it should be a little
masteries.
Should be a little bit easier. We talked about those masteries because some of these they came in. Oh, Bond of Stone damage reduction while alone is 2% rather than 4%. Thunderlord's Decree cooldown 20 seconds, and Perseverance fixed a bug where it was triggering at 20%.
Another reason to take Thunderlord's Decree.
Yeah, about that. It just got better.
Right.
Lots and lots of changes in this patch. I know we kind of like petered out here near the end of it, but I do think a lot of we will come back after this let me come back to the start of that. We are taking Wednesday off, so this is the only podcast you get this week. And we hit most of the major points. I know we didn't, and a lot of the changes in here to kind of like not stop the snowball, but slow the roll of the snowball down the hill just a little bit. Maybe decrease the incline a bit, so the snowball is still snowballing and rolling. It's just not as rolling as fast and picking up as much extra debris, which is nice.
Well played.
So with that said, we are going to play these over this long weekend because we're taking Wednesday off for Thanksgiving. So everyone out there, please please be thankful for something and let us know what you are thankful for on our forums at reddit.com/r/T-Force Network. And we will be back on Monday to talk more about League of Legends. We'll talk about the new champion because numbers will be out by then. We'll also be talking patch 5.23 again at that point. Does anybody else want to roll anything before I get into my last piece? No? All right.
Nope.
So guys, holidays. If you guys want to support us, you can always go to patreon.com, T-Force Network, and support us there. You can donate it to us at donation at, I think it's trinityforcepodcast.com/donate. As well, if you go to www.gameflyoffer.com/TFN, you can sign up for a 30-day free trial of Gamefly. You get 2 discs out, so if you don't know what Gamefly is, you get 30 days. You could rent. It's basically a video game rental service. You know, you used to go down with your mom and pop and go pick up that awesome Mario Brothers game. Well, instead of going with mom and pop because you're too damn old to walk down there with them, you can sit in the comfort of your own home and play Fallout 4 because it'll be delivered right to your mailbox.
They'll send it to you.
Yes.
If you want to be lazy, it's the greatest.
So if you decide you want to play Fallout 4 and you just want to listen to us about all these preseason changes and want to wait till everything blows over, or you want to play the new Battlefront game that came out, or you want to pick up Assassin's Creed, or you want to play some old Xbox games, or whatever you want to do, you can go start your free trial. You get 2 games out for 30 days for free. After that, it's $15 a month for one game, or I think $23 a month for the second game. They're going to kill me that I don't know the actual prices in front of me, but that's about it. It's like $25 for 2 games a month. It's about $18 for one game. And just go to www.gameflyoffer.com/TFN to sign up using our promo code, and you get that 30 days for free to try those 2 games. And you can cancel any time. You don't have to pay anything as long as you cancel it before then. But please support us. Go sign up for that, and let us know how the Gamefly worked out for you. Again, I'm still waiting for that 1,000th person to sign up on the T-Force Network subreddit as well. $10 on RP. I swear to God, I'll do it. So
get out there, close?
Now we're at like 745. I think we've gained like 2 since the last podcast I talked. People are just being slow.
Nope, we're getting close. So everybody, hurry in there. Could be you.
Could be you.
But that's it for us with the Trinity Force podcast for tonight, guys. Enjoy your long weekend. I just want to real quick. I want to apologize if you had to re-download all the podcasts. We had some RSS issues last weekend, and everything got really fucky. So there's my apology. That's all you're gonna get out of me.
Thank you, Internet. Thank you for doing things.
Good
or bad.
No. Thank the server for filling up because we're putting too much shit on it.
Screw you, server.
Yeah,
You're supposed to serve us.
Yeah.
Who are you serving?
Oh, it's kicking up dust and shit down here. Fuck you.
And before Adam dies due to carbon monoxide poisoning in his basement.
All right. I got to get upstairs. Guys, that's so much for the Trinity Force podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you all next week. Peace.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
What episode was that?